Do your kids fart a lot? Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Thanks for Cooking.
Our daughter has a farting
Our
problem.
daughter has a farting problem. It's one way to start it. Guys, as always, like, comment, share, do all those things. Let us know. Are you a farter? Does your kids have a farting problem? What do we do about this? Is it because of all the yogurt and fruit that they're eating?
Not her coming up to us earlier crying, saying she had a farting problem. Like
She
she
does.
literally did.
Listen, because I'm actually getting concerned. She's farting a lot.
And she's not drinking dairy. Like no dairy. She
Yeah.
doesn't drink milk anymore.
Like she doesn't have enough dairy going into her system to let me think that she's lactose intolerant.
Can our kid not have a gluten allergy? Like I will cry.
I'm very concerned that it could be the gluten.
Oh God. Like I can't. If that's like an allergy that we have to
It
worry
could just
about.
be that she has a shitty diet. That's.
Yeah, I don't know. Like she eats. I feel like she
She's
eats
just-
so much.
Yeah,
You have a pooping problem.
I do.
Anyway,
we are the IBS Avengers in this house.
so we normally start and ask what happened this week, but we've just been on a roll. So we already talked about what happened, right? We don't really like.
Yeah, so if you caught our What's for Dessert, we had an interesting experience.
That's the last thing that happened to us.
If you haven't caught it yet, make sure you go back, check it out.
If you like a shitty restaurant story, go listen to that one because
That's
that
the
was
thing.
something.
Maybe I can learn. Oh, there's a skill I need to learn this week. Is if I go like this and I input the clip right here, you're able to click it in the YouTube video.
Really?
I think so. I think you can still do that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I'm going to leave this here as a note to myself to figure out how to do that.
That's perfect.
So we were talking recently, right? So like we spend every day with the kids.
Yep.
We are around our kids all the time. And it's funny as so obviously, Becky had just had Cooper recently. And, I think back to like when Addie was a baby. Now I was not. So if you guys don't know, I was obviously not around for Jason when he was a baby.
Where the fuck were you?
I was in Maryland. I was living my best life.
Slacker.
And, I met him when he was 3.
I always think about making new follower friends on the internet
Who don't know.
who just don't know that. Why would they?
There are people, we make new friends in real life who don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I tell people all the time and they're like, what?
Well, sometimes like because we're always with Addie and it's always Addie centric during the daytime.
That's true. Most of our daytime people don't even know that Jason exists.
Unless they follow us on social media.
We've had
they
if you
don't.
guys follow us, you know that we go to Meadowlark 3 times a week at minimum. And the owner the other day asked me, she was like, well, you only have the daughter, right? And I was like, no, I have a 10-year-old son. And she's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so weird.
Debbie.
That's so funny. That's so Debbie.
But, recently we were talking about how, it's interesting where, like when you're in a relationship and you get pregnant, like you have 9 months to sort of like, nobody's ever ready, but you at least have that like 9-month build up to being prepared to be a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And you had that and I didn't.
Yeah.
I literally, I moved home and it was like, boom, you're thrust
Dad.
into dad mode.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when I talk to other friends and we talk about like, what is life like after having kids? What is marriage like after having kids? And it's interesting because I can really only compare our relationship from before
to now
to our relationship now.
For sure.
And I feel like you would have a different perspective of this. But, I very much I always think about, what was life like before kids, right? And obviously, I was like living my best life in Maryland. I was single, ready to mingle. I was just living in a buddy's basement. I was out every night. I was doing activities.
Uh-huh.
I was making good money and I was just living the dream. And literally overnight, my life was flip turned upside down. And all of a sudden I was like, now there's like a kid that I need to help be responsible for.
Well, it's so weird because if you compare it to our previous life of like, if we just take out the fact that we weren't together for 5 years and was just like pre-Jason and now.
Sure.
I feel like we had so much free time before kids that we just didn't take advantage of because we were so busy with work and helping my dad's restaurant that we never made, not that we didn't have quality time together, but I feel like it was like, I don't want to say wasted time, but that's how it felt sometimes now we've never had that. So now I'm just like, I wish we really realized what we had.
Well, I think you make a good point, right? Is that it's that sort of, people often say they're like, you don't know that. It was like, how do we know that we're in the good times
until you're out of them?
Until you're out of
Yeah.
them type of scenario, right? Like, we were at the Super Bowl at Becky's and I'm looking at Cooper and I start crying because I'm like, I remember Addie being that size. And I still think like, even though like I got to be present for her as a baby, there's still part of me that's like, I wish that I had more time. I wish that like me could talk to myself back then and go, hey, like really not that I didn't share it, but like really cherish these moments,
Yeah.
and obviously like for many people, like you hold the memories, but memories mold over time.
Hmm.
And people say the same thing about people who have passed away, right? Is that like you slowly start to lose like their voice in your head, you lose what their face looks like in person.
Yeah.
And I think that like that's sort of like what parents experience as time goes on is, you lose what they were like as a baby or what they were like as a toddler. I look at Addie now and like she's a little girl, she's not a baby, and like it's
It's so
sad.
depressing.
We literally just realized like we're not drinking milk anymore because
Nobody in the house
I
drinks
literally had to
milk.
dump a half a gallon of milk
Oh
because
my God.
nobody drinks it. But people often talk about like what is life like before kids, what is like life like after kids. And we were in a unique scenario when we got married, we already had Jason in our lives.
Yeah.
And at the time I hadn't adopted him yet.
At the time, it was more of like a co parenting situation. So the situation was this is the apartment that my ex and I moved into, which is so weird because we're coming on 7 years being in this apartment.
Mhm.
And I was only here with him for 1 month.
Yep.
So we signed this lease and it was over before it even started being in here. And when you moved in, we only had Jason Monday through Friday. Your work schedule was pretty much all around the clock, like
Yep.
we had talked about before. And I worked on the weekends. But the way that we had it was we wanted Jason here. So at the time, Jason was always here.
Yep.
And I slept at my parents, you were at your parents. And then we came here during the week.
Yep.
And kind of like shared the apartment with my ex so that Jason had his home.
Yeah.
That is so weird.
It's very, very weird.
And you were fine with it. Like you were like a proponent of it. Like Jason should be home.
Yeah.
And it was fine and it worked fine.
Until it didn't.
Until it didn't. But I feel like we didn't have time together.
Well, and because we talk all the time about how we didn't have Jason on the weekends.
But we worked.
We worked. So there was a short while where he was going to his dad's on the weekends.
In the beginning. Yeah.
And we ended up working and we never took those days off. Like we never took those time for ourselves.
I wish we did.
And yeah, of course.
I wish we did.
Of course. Like we had the opportunity because like now we don't have a lot of people in the sitter category. We really just have your dad and Aunt Terry. So like we are very stuck. Like we are us, like if we need the kids to be watched, like we're a slave to their schedules, right? I don't want to inconvenience them because we don't have people in our lives who are willing to watch the kids.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting that like we didn't take advantage of that even when we didn't have children, and we didn't take advantage of it when we did have children.
Yeah.
And it's funnier now that like for me, I've changed as a person in terms of like, because I now live like your YOLO lifestyle.
Yeah.
That like I do look back at that and I go, fuck, like I don't look at it as lost time.
It sucks though sometimes.
But it does suck. It really does suck when
you can't get that back. There is no getting that back.
It's not. Nobody's going to watch our kids overnight. So like we don't get overnight trips without the kids. We don't get that experience that other parents get to have.
Yeah.
So it's always unique when people bring up the topic of like, what is life like or what is marriage like before and after kids, because I think it really is all dependent on, they talk about the village that helps raise. It's like,
for sure.
It really depends on your village. And like I said, we're very limited. So for us, marriage after kids is the same as marriage before kids. They are an extension of us. And I don't look at that as a bad thing. Like, yes, believe me, I would love an overnight trip without the kids.
Mm-hmm.
We struggle to find date nights, which, it does suck. Like it's hard for us to sometimes like not get into that, like we're just roommates type of pattern.
Yeah.
Because we always have the kids.
How do you feel? Do you feel like it negatively affects how we are together or how our marriage is like as a couple?
I don't think so, because again, and we've discussed this before, is like you and I have such a unique relationship.
We do.
We really, really do. And I think like we make the best of our time together regardless.
You always say united front.
Yeah,
whenever the kids are driving us fucking nuts.
Yep, united front. We equally hate them. But again, like we do things like this. The kids are in bed, so we get to spend time together and we do the podcast, or we'll sit and we'll watch our shows. And like, it becomes frustrating because it's like, I now have to stay up later to have time without them, and then I know that they're gonna wake up early, and I
Yeah,
gotta get up with them, and I understand that's all part and parcel of being a parent,
totally.
but I do get jealous when I see other parents who have the ability to just, like, drop the kids off somewhere and be like, "Hey, we're going away for the
I
weekend."
follow this one girl. She's a good friend of mine, Elisa, and she has her kids, and she'll always be like away for the weekend. And I had messaged her one time, and I said, "I wish we had this," and she said, "No matter what, we would always make this a priority." And I said, "I totally get that, but like, how?
Yeah,
If you don't have those people?" And I never, like we always say, we don't want to like put that on anyone. They're our responsibility.
sure.
But so many people our age have parents that are retired, and everybody that we know is still a full-time employee.
Yeah,
So like I would almost feel obligated to pay someone to do an overnight trip.
you're
Even
right.
my dad, I'd be like, I'm gonna cover your missed pay.
Yeah,
Um, but I get what you're saying about sometimes it feels like we're roommates in a sense of that every day is just like yes, we spend all day together and stuff, but there is no like
every day is
couple time.
it's kid-centric
Yeah,
all the time,
yeah.
and, we don't get to have those breaks, so, when we crash out, like, we crash out hard and we crash out together,
Because we're running on
unfortunately.
E.
Yeah,
We run on empty sometimes. It's hard.
it really is. It really is, and what's funny is you always get and this happens. I know it happens to everybody. Everybody experiences this. Is like when you're pregnant and everybody's like, when the baby comes, you let me know. I'll be there. I'll come help.
No,
Yada yada yada. They ain't helping with shit.
they ain't doing
Okay.
shit.
If you're pregnant or you're thinking about getting pregnant, and people tell you all this stuff, that they're
Assume you're
going to show up,
alone.
just assume that they're not going to show up.
Yeah.
Just assume they're not going to show up, right?
Mhm.
Because the same goes. Like I always say this about like people who are always like, "Oh, Nick, if you open a restaurant, we'll be first in
No,
line."
you won't.
I can't even get you people to like my fucking Instagram posts. Okay, I can't get you to double tap. You think you're gonna watch my kids? Fuck no.
No.
So you know, I go back and forth, right? Because at the end of the day, I know that we can rely on ourselves, and I love the life that we have built together. Sometimes it's fucking exhausting,
Yes.
and sometimes I just want a break, but I want a break with you.
And that's
It's
what you say all the time is there's times where I'm done, right? I'm burnt out. The other night I was like, I'm going to see a movie. I just need to get away from the kids.
Yeah,
But I want you to come because
right,
like I'm not burnt out from you.
right.
And you always say like I'll send him to a restaurant by himself because like we don't want to do the kids at dinner situation all the time.
Oh, it's exhausting.
And we don't have a sitter. So it's like you go and then you're bummed out and it's just like
Yeah.
it's depressing sometimes.
It sucks that you and I don't get to share some experiences together
Yeah.
because of the kids
Yeah.
and because of the lack of village that we have, right? And again, it's like we don't have that person that I could literally just call up like right now and be like, "Hey, can you just watch the kids so we can go out for 20 minutes?" Like,
Yeah.
it does suck sometimes. So, even having that debate of like, you know, uh, kids after marriage and whatever and what life is like, it's so different to each couple and to each scenario.
I also think it really depends on, like you said, on the situation. Like if if you were still working the hours that you were when we first got together and I had the two kids, like I feel like our relationship would be very different
Absolutely.
because I would be resentful, you would be fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't we wouldn't have time for the late nights because you'd be like I got to go to bed, I got to get up for work. So I feel like we made the decision for you to be home too really was the best decision
Well, like
at
we
this
said before,
time.
was like this was never a financial decision. This
Yeah.
was like a mental and emotional decision
Yeah.
more than anything else. Is that we, like you said, we wouldn't have had time as a couple if I kept being that sort of career focused.
Hmm.
And we know that like it did, like there were times it did put a hindrance in our relationship
Yeah.
because even like I said, when we wanted to go out and have a date night, like we got to plan it like a month ahead of time.
Yeah.
And because we only have, two people basically at our disposal
Hmm.
for this, we don't want to abuse that privilege either, and we're very thoughtful of that. So it's like we're only going to ask your dad maybe
Once a
once a
month.
month
Yeah.
because he only gets 2 days off from work, and I don't want to take up that time from him.
Yeah.
Same thing with Aunt Terry. It's like I don't want to take up that time from them, and I know that those two people specifically are always the ones who are like, it doesn't matter. Like if we're available, we'll
Hmm.
do it, and I know that they are. I know that they want to, but I
Yeah.
also respect that boundary for them.
Yes.
I respect that boundary on their behalf,
We don't want to overdo it.
and I don't want to overdo it because I also know that our kids are a handful, and I understand that. I know that our kids have the ability to traumatize people.
Poor Zoe.
Poor Zoe. Zoe, I'm sorry.
Zoe was sick, and Addie's so annoying. Full apologies to Zoe for how Addie acted at the Super Bowl.
I think Zoe got a face full of like what sibling life is like.
Watching those two
Watching
interact.
the two of our kids interact with
Yeah,
each
they're
other.
just They really are brother and sister.
They really
They
are.
really are. The last thing that I'll say to wrap this up is I know that when we're in the thick of it, we're like, one day we really are going to miss this shit when we are at the restaurant by ourselves. And I do think that in the grand scheme of our relationship, we will have more time without the kids than with them.
Well, I think there was a study, it was something that basically said that after your kids turn 18, let's just say like traditionally, right, they turn 18, they go to college, they move out, et cetera, et cetera. You only have about 365 days with your kids after they turn
I
18.
will kill myself.
But here's the thing is that like, I look at the relationship that you have with your parents
Oh, they're stuck with me, man.
because you spent so much time with them in the
Mhm.
restaurant and you were always with them all the time, that you have a different relationship with your parents than most people our age have with their parents. Like the difference between you and I is night and day. And I believe that our kids are growing up to have your kind of
Oh, that makes
relationship.
me happy if you think that.
Yeah,
I want them to
absolutely.
have that.
I like you always say because you're like, we'll miss that when we're out to dinner and they're not
They'll
there.
be at dinner.
But they're gonna be like, you're annoying ass, and they're gonna be like, oh, you guys are going out to dinner, great, we'll meet you there. You're paying? No way. Like they're
That's
gonna
when we'll,
show up every night for. I'm not gonna be able to fucking get rid of them because of you.
that's when we'll want them to be there though, because they won't be so fucking
Yeah,
annoying.
well, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Although they show up and like Jason will be farting on Addie, and then like
They'll be like 20
they're
and
gonna be
still acting.
arguing, and then they're gonna bring their kids, and their kids are gonna be arguing with each
Oh
other.
my god.
It's gonna be fucking obnoxious.
I'm just happy that I believe our marriage is so strong with or without them. You and
Absolutely.
I are like you said,
United front. United front.
But then the other thing we were talking about is kind of like how we flirt and how our relationship is like, is it romantically, I guess?
So, and again, I think like our, I always feel that because of the uniqueness of our situation, it is different. We had, I would say, like we had couple time, we had more couple time when I first moved home and I was working a lot
Mhm.
because we had time without Jason.
We used to go to the bars on the like go out on the
Yeah, we would
weekend by
go out.
ourselves.
We'd go out late and whatever.
Yeah.
But we had time together. Whereas like now, again, like we don't get like mommy daddy time. We don't.
What does that mean?
Whatever you want it to mean. But I would say that like we find the way in general, right? I think in general is like we find ways
Yeah.
to keep the love alive between the two of us.
Like we are so in sync with each other that like the little things that we do really just keep it alive. Like if we're driving in the car and you put your hand on my leg, I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I'm like, I love him. Like it's like a simple, no, you know what I mean? Like a simple gesture. And I feel like all day we're just like, I love you. Little stuff like, you know what I mean?
Why you say it like that?
Why I say it like that? No, but like we really do try to be thoughtful and romantic, even when we're tired.
Yeah. Well, and I think, it's interesting now that you bring that up, right? So something that you and I do, and I've noticed this recently, is, the last few weeks we've had some really bad crash outs. And the kids just like have been pushing every single button possible. Like it all, like the kids know when we're crashing out.
They're like,
And
yeah,
they're like,
double
great,
down.
we're going to double down this. But we're able to turn to each other and go, listen, it's not you. And I appreciate you being here. Like, just let me have this moment for a 2nd and
Mhm.
like whatever. But like, we're able to still within those moments go, listen, I'm crashing out. I need you to know that this isn't about you.
Yeah.
I still love you.
Yeah.
And just let me be mad for a second, right? Like, let me be mad about the world. And then I'll come back to you in a minute. And I think it's interesting is like we don't, even if we do, like we will snap at each other when we are crashing out. We will have those moments where it's like you just happen to get caught in the crossfire because, I go in and get, like there's like idiots at the mall or whatever, and
Yeah.
I start losing my shit.
hmm
And like you asked me a question that I know you could have just Googled anyway. And any other time I would have just Googled it myself and answered it for you. But I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, why can't you Google this thing on your own?
Yeah.
Like, why can't you be an adult sometimes? Like, I just need you to handle yourself right now because I can't handle my own self. So stop asking me these dumb questions. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
not mad at you. I'm mad at the situation, but fuck, could you just Google the thing?
I will never Google.
I don't know. You will never Google the thing.
Is there anything that I do that you find like an act of service or an act of like love that like really sits with you no matter how stupid it is? Like where I just said like you touch my leg in the car. And again, it's just out of habit, like you do it, it's sweet, but I'm just like, oh, like that's nice.
I think that there's a lot of things that you do. Like obviously, like because I think like primarily like you still take care of the house, even though that like I'm home now, and
I know that you appreciate that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate like when you know I'm going to go film something in the kitchen and the kitchen is clean.
Hmm.
And like that, just like that means a lot to me. I appreciate, again, like this is probably like the dumbest thing. I appreciate you being the person to always suggest that we go get coffee in the morning.
Really?
Yes. Because I don't want to be that person.
Well, I don't want to say it every day, but I probably would.
Because like I know that I have to drive. I know that I have to pay.
But you also want to get coffee.
But I also want to get coffee. But I also don't want to be the person who says it every single day.
That's fair.
So I appreciate that you are the person to say, hey, let's go get coffee.
Yeah.
Because then, when we're broke, I can blame you.
Wow. Well, I didn't feel bad because like when I know that I just sent you money, I'm like, we have coffee money, maybe. Just like crapshoot. I don't fucking know.
Coming up on bill time. Yeah.
Wake your ass up.
I'm awake.
How would you say our romantic relationship is now and then when we were in our 20s? What do you think? And you can say whatever. I'm not.
It's definitely flip flopped. I feel like we had this conversation the other day. When we dated before,
You were a horny 20-year-old?
I was a horny 20-year-old, and you wanted like nothing to do with me. And I just like, I was like, all right, well, there it is.
That's so weird though.
And of course, I broke up with you. So
do you think that's part of the reason in any capacity? And I'm dead serious. I won't be offended.
I don't think so. I feel like you've asked me that question before. And like, I really thought back to like what my thought process was at the time. And I don't think that that was a deciding factor of it all.
Okay.
I'm not going to say that it was a direct deciding factor. It may have led to my general hatred towards you.
Built up frustration.
That's
fair.
And it's funny as like now that like we're approaching 40, it's totally opposite.
Yeah.
Totally opposite.
I don't know why that happened.
I don't know.
You just got sexier with age. I don't know what to say. I don't know why I was like that when I was 20, like in my 20s. But then like it's so
Wasted
weird.
Youth.
It really was. I look better now, I feel.
Okay.
You don't think?
Okay.
Ew. You're such an asshole. Like, goddamn. Yeah, I don't know why I was like that. But then like we both know that after you, like I had like a hoe phase. So like what the fuck? You did too though.
I never left my hoe phase. Like
you were
like,
just always
I was in a hoe phase, and then you and I dated, and then I just went back to my hoe phase.
What a slut.
I don't care.
That's fine. Yeah, I feel like we find a way to make time for each other. I would say. What?
Do you like my parents watching?
I don't give a shit. Becky's gonna be dialed into this one.
Oh, she is.
She'll be texting me. She'll be like, "Oh, same," or whatever she'll say.
Yeah.
Who knows? Like your face is bright red right now, and you're talking to me. Like we're just sitting here talking. You fucking prude. We find ways to make it work, even when we're tired, even when it's not at the forefront of the mind at all times. But it's just like we still have a romantic relationship.
Absolutely.
We don't view each other like we're just passing ships. Like we are a couple. We kiss every day. We kiss, if one of us leaves the house, we're kissing. I feel like we are romantic towards each other.
Absolutely.
And very flirty still.
Yeah.
More so now than when we dated before, in my opinion. Like
Yes.
as a whole.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Any other thoughts?
No, I think it's more now because it is reciprocated. Like it's
mutual, yeah. We like extra love each other.
Should have been mutual before.
We
dated for 2 years.
It was.
Oh my god.
No, I don't know how to explain what was wrong with. Like I don't know.
Listen, we still can't explain what was wrong with you.
You were mean. I have no answer. I think we were just like this is what makes no sense to me. Like I'm sorry, Mom. I'm just so sorry. Like before, like I don't know how to describe it. It's like when you're in your 20s, you're like, I'm so tired after working my shift, right? But like now I actually am tired, but now the spirit is more willing. I don't know.
The spirit is willing, but the flesh is spongy and bruised.
No, but like we would go to the bar and shit and be there till 2 a.m. when we were in our 20s. And I was like, I just want to go to bed. And you're like, yeah, you want to go to bed? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to bed. But now I'm kind of like, this is just the beginning of the night. Like, what do we have to lose? I'm going to be tired in the morning regardless. So who gives a shit?
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like you've always, and we'll talk about like the sleep aspect of it. It's like
I love sleeping.
Always loved sleeping.
Uh-huh.
Now you are so much of a night owl now.
Mm-hmm.
And
because of that kid free time. You got to stay up.
I still am not.
You're trying.
I'm trying, but like I'm also reaching like old man era. So I'm like anything past 8 o'clock. I'm like, no. I'm ready to, like, I want to curl up in bed. I want to go to bed because I know that, like, my body doesn't matter what is going on, how tired I am. I will always wake up at 4 a.m. and then, like, even though I, like, go to the bathroom, go back to sleep, but I always wake up at 4 a.m. from doing it for so many years and so many different jobs, waking up early, that, like, I just know, like, realistically, the good sleep I'm getting is from when I fall asleep to 4 a.m.
Mhm.
And then I'm getting shitty sleep from, 4:30 onwards.
And this is why our romance happens at randomly 2 p.m. in the afternoon, because that's when we're awake.
Your kids take the tablet.
Gotta go.
We got to go fold laundry.
The best 5 minutes of my day. Just kidding.
Listen,
Just kidding.
but you know what? And
I'm
it's,
just
like,
kidding.
people joke about that kind of
I'm
stuff. And I
just
think
kidding.
that it's, when people talk about how, like, a relationship is work, right? And you find ways to make it work, is sort of circling back to that, like, what is life like? What is marriage like? Life like after kids? And how does time and kids and marriage change the way that we interact with each other? And I think that all that comes together of, if you really love the person that you're with, you make it work.
Yes.
And I also don't think, like, people are always like, relationships are hard.
Mm-mm. I don't think so.
I think that if the relationship is hard, then both parties are not actually working. And I know that sounds contradictory, but, like, if both parties are actively working on the relationship, it will come easy. And I think that our relationship comes easy because we are both actively working hard at it.
That's very sweet, and I agree.
Are you gonna cry?
No, but that's very sweet. No, I agree. No, like, I really do love you.
Gross.
No, but I really have been thinking this whole last segment here about why I was the way I was then towards you and now. And I honestly think, even though I had my nails done, had my hair done, wore a tube top, I wasn't confident about who I was, even though I, acted that way. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
I feel like now you and I are so close that we often joke that there's literally no boundaries into what we will say, do, like,
That's fair.
my body, anything. I don't give a shit. Right? You've seen my stomach cut open, and I don't really give a shit. No, and you still think I'm sexy. I'm shocked that didn't scar you.
Go figure.
And I just feel like that's what it is. It's like, I love you so much more, and I love myself so much more, and, like, it just, like you said, it's reciprocated 1,000% over how we act towards each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I guess that's all for today. Do you have anything else?
I don't think so.
I do love you a lot. Like, I love talking to you. You're so cute. Why are you smirking like that?
Anyway.
You love me too.
Okay. As always, guys, make sure, leave a like, a comment, a share, do all those good things. We appreciate all the love you guys have been giving us. Let us know in the comments. Let us know about, like, what your marriage life has been like, before kids, after kids. Like, if you guys have anything to share about this.
Can I share one more thing?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm happy to have the green light to always ask to go get coffee. That's what I took from this whole thing. There goes all your money.
Great.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
The next episode better be sponsored by some coffee roaster. Like, share, comment, do all those wonderful things. We love you guys.
Sorry, Mom.
Leave us a comment. Let us know your input on some of the topics we discussed today. And is chili a soup? Either way, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for cooking.